The home that we're standing across from right now is 421 Garrard. This was the home of J. Stark Wayne, who lived from 1834 to 1907. He was a wealthy tobacco merchant and later the president of a bank. He built one of the first homes in the area as what was known as the Park Place subdivision, as I mentioned previously. By 1880, Wayne is residing here with his wife, Martha, and his daughters, Elizabeth and Daisy. Sadly, Martha dies just 2 years later in 1882, in July. Wayne marries again in 1884 in October to a neighbor here on Garrard, Lida Stewart. Lida is 24 years his junior and they have one son named Richard. And funny enough, he lists his occupation as gentleman in the 1900 US Census. So he seems like quite a character. He again makes the newspapers in 1902 for a wedding, go figure. This time to his third wife, Elizabeth Garrard of Canada. The couple is wed in York County, New Brunswick, on the Maine border. He's 68 years old and Elizabeth is 34. Wayne dies in Asheville, North Carolina in 1907, leaving a massive estate of $438,000, which is roughly $11 million in today's money. It was recently purchased by the Village Idiot LLC in April, and we have no idea what the property is going to become, but I imagine that we'll be seeing that in the near future. Alright, so this is 503 Garrard. We are standing in front of the house that was formerly owned by Dr. William Guy Eckman. Dr. Eckman lived from about 1873 to 1957. He had the home built between 1922 and 1923. The property was and may still be a two-family structure. It was burglarized shortly after being built. Burglars forced their way into the house through a cellar window and then through two reinforced doors, according to a newspaper article. The thieves stole approximately $300 worth of the Eckman's personal property. Cash, gold, bed sheets, and silverware were among those items. Mrs. Eckman unknowingly confronted the culprits when she caught a glimpse of their dark figures when she entered the home around 9:20 on the evening of the act. Dr. Eckman is called the father of Covington's health program. He was instrumental in the creation of the health department and created an ordinance that all city milk should be supplied from tuberculin-tested cows. He also pushed for diphtheria immunizations, health exams for food handlers, and covers for milk bottles. In 1941, he even asked the city commission to adopt an ordinance to require a handler's license for all restaurants and grocery stores and to grade all food handling establishments, an idea that was quickly tossed out by the commission. He's photographed standing next to a new service truck in 1941 under the headline, "Covington Health Department is Mechanized," with his son standing nearby as well. There are dozens and dozens of newspaper articles in our newspaper index that come up with his name. They're primarily related to public health issues, so he did quite a bit in that regard. In addition to serving as the city's public health officer, he had a private practice as a physician and a surgeon, and he served as the city jail physician. So we're standing in front of 611 and 613 Greenup. The current building was constructed in 1894 by a prominent local attorney, Charles Barrington Simrall. Charles Simrall was a lawyer for Kentucky's Southern and C&O Railroad and for the Cincinnati Railway. He was a member of the Kenton County Bar Association. He attended church at the First Presbyterian in Covington, which, just as an aside, once stood between Scott and Greenup, now is on Madison and 4th. He and his wife, Josephine, had 6 daughters. Their daughter, also named Josephine, became the Dean of Women's Studies at the University of Cincinnati. Their daughter, Ruth, married an attorney, Harry B. McCoy, and he was an active member of the Parent Teachers Association and at the Covington Art Club, which was now at Baker Hunt, which we're standing right in front of. In 1908, Aaron S. Warman lived at 613 Garrard, which is the one on the left. Mr. Warman was a teacher and athletic director at Holmes High School. He taught chemistry and physical geography. He was the Holmes High School football coach from 1907 to 1914. In 1914, he resigned from his position at Holmes High School and he moved to Columbus, Ohio. During World War I, he traveled to England and France to do YMCA work. With the war, this included tending to the spiritual and social needs of millions of soldiers that were stationed in Europe. He was so beloved by his football players that in 1957 they held a reunion to hear Mr. Warman give them a pep talk.